Good morning, brothers and sisters. Have you shouted for joy yet? Are you done? Can we shout for joy again? I believe you won't mind shouting for joy one more time, for our life is so wonderful and so blessed. Let us shout for joy that we are so precious in Abba's heart. Hallelujah! Yay! The Infinite is gazing on us. In the Gospel according to Luke, chapter 12 mentioned, God will not forget not even a sparrow. Though a sparrow is tiny, God will not forget every single one of them. How much more are we? Abba will not forget us, for we are more than the sparrow. We're the dear children of Abba. He numbered all our hair. I like to sing an old hymn. His eye is on the sparrow, which is not available in God's family hymnal. But I like the English name of this hymn better. When you sing this hymn, you may feel you're lonely, but we're being well taken care of. We're surely blessed. How precious! In the Gospel according to Luke, chapter 12, the Lord Jesus said, Are not 5 sparrows sold for 2 pennies? And not one of them is forgotten before God. Even a little sparrow is remembered by God. Not one of them is forgotten before God. How much more are we? For we are much more precious than the sparrow. We shall shout for joy. Not only our hair is numbered by Abba. In fact, he has his love attention on us. Shall we sing this hymn? If you don't know how to sing, you can try to follow me. You can mumble in your mouth. Why should I feel discouraged? Why should the shadows come? Why should my heart be lonely and long for heaven and home? When Jesus is my portion, my constant friend is he. His eye is on the sparrow, and I know he watches me. His eye is on the sparrow, and I know he watches me. I sing because I'm happy. I sing because I'm free. For his eye is on the sparrow, and I know he watches me. Let not your heart be troubled. His tender word I hear, and resting on his goodness, I lose my doubts and fears. Though by the path he leadeth, but one step I may see. His eye is on the sparrow, and I know he watches me. His eye is on the sparrow, and I know he watches me. I sing because I'm happy. I sing because I'm free. For his eye is on the sparrow, and I know he watches me. I hope you have time to quiet yourself and respond to him, or you can sing another hymn to worship the Lord. Let's have some time to draw near the Lord face to face. You can stop the recording and we'll read the Bible when you're done. May the Lord bless you. Brothers and sisters, we'll read in Psalm 55. To the choirmaster, with stringed instruments, a Maskil of David. Give ear to my prayer, O God. and hide not yourself from my plea for mercy. Attend to me and answer me. I'm restless in my complaint, and I moan, because of the noise of the enemy, because of the oppression of the wicked. For they drop trouble upon me, and in anger they bear a grudge against me. My heart is in anguish within me. The terrors of death have fallen upon me. Fear and trembling come upon me, and horror overwhelms me. And I say, oh, that I had wings like a dove! I would fly away and be at rest. Yes, I would wander far away. I would lodge in the wilderness. Selah. I would hurry to find a shelter from the raging wind and tempest. Destroy, O Lord, divide their tongues, for I see violence and strife in the city. Day and night they go around it on its walls, and iniquity and trouble are within it. Ruin is in its midst. Oppression and fruit do not depart from its marketplace. For it is not an enemy who taunts me, then I would bear it. It is not an adversary who deals insolently with me, then I would hide from him. But it is you, a man, my equal, my companion, my familiar friend. We used to take sweet counsel together. Within God's house we walked in the front. Let death steal over them. Let them go down to Sheol alive, for evil is in their dwelling place and in their hearts. But I call to God, and the Lord will save me. Evening and morning and at noon I utter my complaints and moan, and he hears my voice. He redeems my soul in safety from the battle that I wage, for many are arrayed against me. God will give ear and humble them. He who is enthroned from of old. Selah. Because they do not change and do not fear God. My companion stretched out his hand against his friends. He violates his covenant. His speech was smooth as butter, yet war was in his heart. His words were softer than oil, yet they were drawn swords. Cast your burden on the Lord, and he will sustain you. He will never permit the righteous to be moved. But you, O God, will cast them down into the pit of destruction. Men of blood and treachery shall not live out half their days, but I will trust in you. The title of this psalm doesn't state when did David write this psalm. Yet many people guess it was the mutiny of Absalom, the son of David and his men. Ahithophel was one of them who turned against David. This psalm mentioned David longed to change into a dove and fly away to where he could rest. As you can see, David was in deep sorrow at that time. Having said that, David called upon God and believed God would save him. He was willing to lay his burden to God. Not only he was free from his burden, and he would ventilate his grievance before God. And this was how David put his trust in God, and he wrote this psalm as a Maskil. I would like to share with you some of my impression of this psalm. Firstly, from verse 5 to verse 11. It seemed it was the description of the mutiny of Absalom betrayed David. He had to flee from Jerusalem in a rush. It was a chaos for him. What a bitter experience. It was exhausting and full of tears. You can refer to 2 Samuel chapter 15. It mentioned, Then David said to all his servants who were with him at Jerusalem, Arise, and let us flee, or else there will be no escape for us from Absalom. Go quickly, lest he overtake us quickly, and bring down ruin on us, and strike the city with the edge of the sword. If this part of the psalm was about Absalom, Then we understand why verse 7 mentioned, yes, I would wander far away. I would lodge in the wilderness. I would hurry to find a shelter from the raging wind and tempest. David fled away in a rush from the capital city to the wilderness. It was because he had to hide from his son. Not only his son sought to kill him, and verse 5 expressed his feeling. Fear and trembling come upon me, and horror overwhelms me. As you can see from verse 5 to verse 11, David was overwhelmed by tremble and horror for the whole paragraph. Yet it is so precious in verse 6 mentioned. Oh, that I had wings like a dove, I would fly away and be at rest. David had a dream that he could have a pair of wings like a dove and flew away from danger which disturbed him, that his spirit could find rest. Of course, truly, David didn't want to have a pair of wings so he could fly in the sky. What he meant was his heart couldn't bear it in those situations, and he was so eager to leave. In order, his heart was not disturbed by the danger and sufferings. His heart could be at rest. Brothers and sisters, it's so good that we can fly to God whenever and wherever we like. We are at rest in Him. The Lord dwells in our hearts. He is our refuge in time of needs. Truly, I hope you know we have a pair of spiritual wings to fly to God. That is to exercise your faith and mind. We are at rest straight away. No longer we shall be trapped by our situations, our faults, the temptations, and attacks by the devil. He is using all these to blow your confidence, so that your mind is trapped. We shouldn't be tricked. Not that it is hard for us to escape, but save yourself from the hands of the fowler. We are able to fly to God's bosom of love. You shall exercise your faith, to think of His love and His heart to us. Let us take refuge in the shadow of His wings. This verse is a special reminder to us. We shall fly to God at once. Don't rely on yourself. Don't delay, and not even a second. As soon as you sense the trick of the devil, you shall ask the Lord to save you. Surely He will save you. Let us use the weapon of faith. Thus, in verse 8 mentioned, I would hurry to find a shelter from the raging wind and tempest. Sometimes the situation will not change straight away. The temptation will not disappear at once, and we're still in that situation. Yet our thoughts shall escape fast, be away from those situations and temptation. Our mind shall think of God at once. Our mind shall not hang around, but to be with God face to face. Then your spirit will experience a wonderful thing. Your mind will calm down and be strengthened. Your mind is not troubled anymore. Just as David said, he could get away from the raging wind and tempest and be at rest. We shall experience our weapons of faith always. Remember to ask the Lord to save you, and turn your mind and set your mind to think of God. Then you will overcome. Let me remind you again to exercise your faith and mind quickly, to deal with the enemies quickly. Never wait until the last minute when the warning light is flashing like Kamen Rider. Beeping, then he make use of the weapon. Then it will be too late. As soon as we exercise the weapon of faith, when we trust in Him, we will get help and overcome at once. Brothers and sisters, is there anything bothering you that your heart is not at rest? Not that God doesn't like you to be peaceful, but it is you who shall fly to Him and be at rest. God has given us a pair of wings. We shall exercise our faith and mind. Let us fly to the Lord. Next, I'd like to share with you verse 12 to verse 15. This paragraph was about David betrayed by his friend. As I mentioned before, most likely his friend was referred to Ahithophel. Do you remember in Psalm 52, he mentioned a man, David, the Edomite. He was the one who betrayed David as well. And in Psalm 54 mentioned the Ziphites who tattled to Saul. Then Saul continued to trace David. I thought of how many people were intended to plot against David in his life. One of the reasons which I was thinking most likely was that he was the king after God's heart. It was the devil who was the mastermind behind. The devil will not leave alone who is close to God, for he will affect many people to draw near God and love him. Hence, don't be surprised with that. Whoever close to God will be attacked, be misunderstood, or be blasphemed. For there the devil likes to destroy the will of God. He doesn't want people to know God. Hence, those who like to know God are the target of the devil to attack. This was not the first time David was betrayed. This psalm mentioned the one who betrayed him was his friend. David's heart was broken. This psalm mentioned it is him, a man, his equal, his companion, his familiar friend, someone who was so close to him. In verse 14 said, we used to take sweet counsel together, so they used to talk with each other a lot. Within God's house we walked in the front, and they worshipped God together. I can say they had many sweet memories, many precious moments. Man betrayed his close friend because of selfishness. A friend of David betrayed him. If you have experienced betrayal from a friend, then you knew how painful it was. It does happen. Not only you're betrayed, and later on he may gossip to your friend about you, to accuse you. It seemed he forgot all the kindness and didn't remember the happiness in the past. That's really sad. Lastly, I'd like to share with you verse 22. There are many negative things after being betrayed by the friend from verse 15 onwards. You can feel the stress while reading it. But you can see the heart of David in verse 22. His heart was calm. How could it be? In verse 22 mentioned, cast your burden on the Lord, and he will sustain you. He will never permit the righteous to be moved. It is written, me, I, my, or we all along. When it came to verse 22, it seemed he liked to teach us a lesson. Cast your burden on the Lord. He told us his secret. His heart was calm because he cast his burden on God. He liked to remind us when we encounter the situations similar with him, we shall learn from him and cast our burdens to God. Peter said the similar thing in the first letter from Peter, chapter 5, verse 7. Casting all your anxieties on him, because he cares for you. It's so precious, we can cast all our anxieties on God, to cast all our burden to God. In fact, we don't have to live with these burdens and worries. I pay special attention to the word cast. The English version has a better interpretation. It means to throw something by force. Hence, we shall throw out our burdens and worries to God. When we throw something by force, we need to do it quick, but not slow. Be aware in verse 22, it is an instruction. It is similar to a parents seeing their children holding something dangerous. They instruct them to throw away quickly. Brothers and sisters, David also reminds us to cast away our worries and burdens, for they are quite dangerous. Do not look down on worry or stress. These negative emotions have proved to be harmful to our bodies. It will lead to insomnia if it is mild, but it may cause depression and loss of concentration if it is serious, and it will decrease the immunity of our body, so that we will get sick easily. These negative emotions will affect our spirit as well. I'd like to tell you, anxiety is the poison of our spirits. Anxiety will diminish our faith and it affects our resistance against the enemies. Then we will leave the place to the devil, as we can see why God asks us to cast our burden and worry to him, to give him quickly. Even he promised to care for us. Surely he will help us. Since he cares for us, then surely he will stretch out his hand to deliver us from all the worries and burdens. I like to say it again. Don't look down on anxiety. There is a Chinese saying, if a man takes no care for the future, he will find sorrow near at hand. Sounds like it is normal to worry. There are things to worry about for the future and present. We shall never have this attitude, for it is a negative thinking. Therefore, I tell you, do not be anxious about your life, what you will eat, nor about your body, what you will put on. Our life is so valuable. Don't worry about what you eat and what you will put on. The point is the word worry. For being worried wouldn't solve your problem. The thing will not go smoothly if you worry more. The Lord Jesus said, which of you, by being anxious, can do a single hour to his plan of life? That means your worries and anxiety are unnecessary, and it is harmful to you. Brothers and sisters, we shall learn to cast our worries to God. How can we do that? How can we unload our burden to him? Of course, we have to come to him, and this is also the way which the Lord taught us. Come to me, all who labor and are heavy laden, and I will give you rest. It's so good. The Lord knows our life on earth is stressful and burdensome. Surely he doesn't want us to carry all these burdens, stress and worries in our life. He doesn't like us to be so heavy laden. This is not how we return to the heavenly home this way. We shall return home with the Lord to walk on the heavenly journey, be free of worry and joyously. Brothers and sisters, we will face different burdens, yet the Lord is so willing to carry our burdens. All we have to do is to come to him daily. Let us cast our burden to him every day. It's so precious that we have the Lord with us. There is something which we cannot bear, but the Lord bore it for us. Brothers and sisters, that's all for my sharing. I hope you draw near him continually if you have time. Let him carry your burden. Let's enjoy your time with him. May the Lord bless you.